Hello, beautiful Libra. Today, something powerful is shifting, and this message has found you for a reason. This isn't just another horoscope reading. This is a divine moment designed especially for you, and in the next few minutes, you're going to feel why. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like something big is coming but you can't quite name it? Like the air itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to decide? If your answer is yes, welcome. You're exactly where you need to be. This video is more than just celestial predictions. It's a soul-aligned transmission, a whisper from the universe through the lens of astrology, tarot, numerology, divine color frequencies, and the powerful law of attraction. It was created to help you not only hear the guidance you need but to truly feel it. And here's the truth, you didn't find this video, it found you. That's no coincidence. That's alignment. Today is June 13th, a day infused with the sacred vibration of the number 13, a number often misunderstood. In numerology, 13 is the frequency of rebirth, of necessary endings that make way for beautiful, miraculous beginnings. And you, Libra, are standing right at that threshold. Maybe you've been juggling decisions, emotions, or even timelines. Maybe life has felt a little too loud, a little too chaotic, and all you've wanted is clarity. Well, the clarity you've been craving isn't far away. In fact, it's already beginning to arrive. Can you feel it? Take a deep breath with me now. Inhale and release. Let the noise drop. Let the weight go. Because in this moment right now you are safe, seen, and supported. Throughout this reading, I'll walk with you through the cosmic energies flowing through your life, using intuitive tarot, sacred number frequencies, and the power of divine timing to help you step fully into your next chapter. And Libra, I promise you, there's something extraordinary waiting at the end. But before we dive in, allow me a moment of sincere gratitude. Thank you for being here. Every like, every comment, every share, and every subscription you've gifted to Zodiac Whisper Tarot helps this channel grow, thrive, and reach more souls who need healing. If you've ever felt like this space, this soft corner of the internet brings you comfort or clarity, know that it's because your energy is part of its light. So thank you, truly, from the bottom of my heart. And trust me, dear Libra, you'll want to stay with me all the way to the end today, because what the universe is revealing is nothing short of breathtaking. Now tell me, what intuitive spark led you here today? What inner knowing nudged you toward this video? Let me know in the comments by typing the sacred number 13, your sign from the universe that you are ready for rebirth. Let's begin, Libra. Your soul has waited long enough. Sometimes, the most powerful clarity arrives not in the form of an answer, but in the quiet recognition of what you've been avoiding all along. Today's reading begins with the Tarot's Justice card, a symbol that speaks directly to the heart of Libra energy. It doesn't ask you to choose sides or make rushed decisions. Instead, it gently invites you to return to the center, to the still point within you where truth is not a battle between right or wrong, but a whisper that has waited patiently to be heard. Justice is not just about fairness in the external world. Its deeper message today is about restoring internal alignment. Think about how often you've bent to keep the peace, how many times you've smiled through discomfort, or silenced your inner voice to maintain harmony in a room that didn't hold space for your full truth. These are not failures, they are signs of your deep desire to connect, to hold space for others. But at what cost? There is a sacred responsibility not just to others, but to yourself, and it may be time to finally honor that balance. The number 7 appears in today's energy field, a deeply introspective frequency in numerology. It asks questions rather than gives answers. It invites contemplation over reaction. It calls you into silence not as an escape, but as a return. The number 7 says, trust your inner compass, even when the map is unclear. And that may be the very lesson you're being presented with now. If you felt stuck between two choices, or like your heart is pulling in one direction while your mind anchors in another, this is your moment to pause, not to act hastily, but to truly listen. You don't have to force clarity. You don't have to fix everything at once. You just have to sit with what is. That, in itself, is a form of courage. There's a quiet wisdom in understanding that every emotion we feel, hesitation, frustration, doubt, is a signal. When your heart feels heavy from indecision, it often means you're standing at the intersection of truth and fear. And here's something important to remember: fear often disguises itself as logic. It sounds like, what if it doesn't work out? What will they think? Or, I should just stay where it's safe. But truth, real, intuitive truth, doesn't speak in panic. It speaks in peace. One gentle way to move through this? Write it down. Get honest with yourself, not to fix the situation, but to see it clearly. One column for what your heart wants. One for what you're afraid of. You may be surprised by what emerges when your inner dialogue becomes visible on paper. When the mind sees it written, the soul can finally breathe. In moments like these, we are reminded of a quiet teaching that says peace does not come from pleasing everyone, it comes from doing what is right, even when it's not the most comfortable choice. And what's right isn't about being perfect. It's about being whole. It's about taking one step in the direction of integrity, even if your voice shakes. Especially if it does. Remember, Libra, balance is not something you find. It's something you build choice by choice, truth by truth. And today, you are being called to build it from within. Let that process be gentle. Let it be real. Let it be yours. Because when you honor your own alignment first, everything else begins to shift around that quiet, unwavering truth. There's a certain kind of wisdom that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. After all the mental noise, emotional waves, and outside influences you've had to navigate lately, you're now being invited into a quieter chapter, not as an escape, but as a return. The High Priestess makes her entrance in your reading like a soft breath after a storm. She doesn't demand attention, she simply arrives and reminds you of the truth. Stillness is not absence, it is presence, purified. This is the part of your journey where clarity begins to grow roots. After cutting cords with what no longer served you, you may feel a strange emptiness, like a room just cleared of clutter. And that's okay. Emptiness is not a problem to be solved, it's space for something better to take shape. In this space, your inner sanctuary has the chance to rebuild, not out of fear or confusion, but out of intentional, grounded peace. The High Priestess is the part of you that always knew, even when you doubted yourself. She's that quiet nudge you feel when something doesn't sit right, or the soft resonance you feel when something deeply aligns. In astrology, she reflects lunar wisdom, the sacred feminine quality of receiving, reflecting, and responding with gentleness. She does not shout. She listens. And by doing so, she hears everything. In today's energy, this card is paired beautifully with the frequency of the color light blue, a shade that supports calm communication, emotional softness, and clarity through compassion. Surrounding yourself with this frequency, whether by lighting a candle, wearing it, or simply placing something blue nearby, subtly signals to your energy field that it's safe to speak softly and still be heard. And perhaps the most important voice to hear right now is your own. Not the one that rushes to please, to fix, or to explain, but the one that has been quietly observing, patiently waiting for you to ask, "What do I truly need?" That voice often speaks through the body, first a tightening in the chest, a tug in the gut, a tear you didn't expect. Don't ignore it. These are not just sensations, they are messages. One gentle practice you might try is placing your hand over your heart, sitting in stillness, and simply asking yourself, what truth is ready to be seen? No need to force an answer. Just listen. If nothing comes, that's okay. Silence is an answer, too. In fact, the best answers often rise slowly like dawn, not lightning. In times like this, it's worth remembering a gentle truth passed down across generations. When you quiet your mind, your heart has room to speak. And your heart, Libra, is not foolish or weak, it is wise beyond measure. Give it the microphone for a while. Let it write. Let it breathe. Let it be the compass again. Sometimes, we assume we need more information, more input, more validation, but the High Priestess says otherwise. You already know more than you realize. You are not lost, you're simply learning how to trust your internal rhythm again. So, take this as your moment to slow down and re-enter the space of inner alignment. It doesn't require dramatic action. It asks only for quiet attention, presence, and a willingness to believe that stillness is just as powerful as motion. And in that quiet, you'll find that peace is not something you chase, it's something you allow. Love has a way of bringing us back to ourselves, not just through the bonds we share with others, but in how we learn to treat our own hearts along the way. After stepping into the stillness with the High Priestess, you're now ready to explore the sacred terrain of connection. Today's energy, reflected through the appearance of the Two of Cups, opens a doorway to deeper harmony, and not only with someone else, but more importantly, with the reflection you see in the mirror each morning. Libra, your essence is relational. You naturally seek balance through connection, beauty through unity, and truth through reflection. But here's the truth that often gets forgotten: real harmony in relationships begins with the relationship you hold with yourself. When that connection is wounded or neglected, even the most loving partnerships can feel heavy. And when that connection is whole, you'll often find that everything around you begins to flow with greater ease. The Two of Cups isn't only about romantic love. It's about the sacred exchange that happens when vulnerability meets acceptance. That exchange can happen in a partnership, yes, but it also happens every time you forgive yourself, every time you offer yourself compassion instead of critique, every time you say, "I see you," to the parts of yourself you used to hide. You may feel the stir of an old memory today, or a tug from your past, a younger version of you who still needs to hear, "You were never too much. You were never not enough. You were simply learning." One way to honor that is through writing. Take a few quiet minutes to write a letter to your 15-year-old self. Tell them what you now know. Not to change the past, but to bring healing to the timeline that still lives in your heart. From a cosmic perspective, Venus, your planetary ruler, encourages all forms of loving energy today to be expressed with softness and sincerity. That includes setting boundaries with kindness, saying yes only when you mean it, and allowing love to be something you receive, not just something you give away. Because true love does not thrive in sacrifice, it blossoms in mutual nourishment. Today's lucky color, mauve pink, supports this vibration beautifully. It holds a frequency that gently soothes the heart space, especially if it's been bruised by unmet expectations or misaligned desires. You might consider wearing it, meditating with it, or simply placing a small object of this shade nearby as a reminder that love doesn't have to be loud to be real, it just has to be honest. And here's something to hold on to, something many wise teachers across time have whispered in quiet moments. You are worthy of the kind of love that feels like safety, not survival. That means love where you can exhale. Love that makes room for your quiet. Love that lets you be the whole, flawed, evolving version of you, not just the polished, performative parts. Take some time today to honor that truth. Create a small ritual, even if it's just lighting a candle and sitting in silence. Or reaching out to someone you once misunderstood with a message of peace. Or looking yourself in the eye and saying, "I forgive you. I'm proud of you. I still believe in you." Relationships don't thrive on perfection, they grow from presence, patience, and perspective. And sometimes the most transformative relationship begins not with another person, but with the moment you finally come home to yourself. Let that be your anchor today. Let love be a space you return to, not a battlefield you survive. When love softens your inner world, something beautiful begins to shift in how you approach everything else. After reconnecting with your own heart, as we just explored, you're now ready to extend that harmony outward to your actions, your daily rhythms, your work, your choices. There's a unique clarity that comes when emotional energy is balanced. It gives rise to thoughtful momentum, rather than reactive motion. And for Libra, ruled by Venus, this moment is less about pushing and more about aligning. It's a shift from, "I have to make it happen," to, "I get to allow it to unfold." In astrology, when Libra begins to feel emotionally anchored, the natural next step is restoring balance in the external world. This is why your sign rules the 7th house of partnerships, contracts, and social balance. But restoring balance doesn't mean overcommitting again or trying to solve everything at once. It's about choosing wisely where you direct your attention and energy next. Work, goals, ambitions, they matter deeply, but only when pursued from a place of clarity and not obligation. And you, Libra, have a deep gift for refinement. You sense when something is off, not because you're picky, but because your energy is tuned to symmetry, the kind that nurtures not just what looks good, but what feels right. This is where your intentions can begin to take real shape. Practicality isn't the opposite of magic, it's how magic learns to walk. The energy of the day calls you to take one small action rooted in your truth. Whether that means organizing something that's felt chaotic, sending a message you've been meaning to write, or finally giving energy to a creative project your heart keeps returning to, now is the time to take that single step. Not because you should, but because it honors the version of you who's becoming clearer, calmer, and more aligned. There's also a quiet teaching we often forget: we were not created to rush. Life is not a race to productivity. And yet, your ambitions, your contributions, your gifts, they all deserve expression. The key is to remember that expression doesn't have to mean burnout. It can look like structure infused with softness. It can look like planning your next move with grace, rather than anxiety. And maybe it's helpful to hold on to this. You don't have to figure out your whole path today. You just need to do the next right thing with honesty. From the cosmic perspective, Mercury's influence today supports mindful communication and clearer mental planning. If you felt foggy or uncertain in your direction, this is a beautiful moment to sit down, reflect, and map out a few simple, heart-aligned priorities for the rest of the week. Sometimes clarity doesn't arrive in a grand epiphany, it shows up in the form of small, consistent steps. And just like a lesson whispered gently, rather than shouted, this moment reminds you that true purpose never requires panic. You were created with intention, gifted with free will, and empowered to choose again at any moment. You can shift. You can recalibrate. You can begin again, not because you failed, but because you're growing. So as you move forward, do it slowly if you need to. Gracefully if you can. But always truthfully. The stability you seek externally will reflect what you're building internally. You don't have to force that alignment, you just have to tend to it with presence. And when you do, the path ahead will reveal itself, one honest step at a time. Peace doesn't always arrive with a grand moment. Sometimes, it comes in the quiet choice to stop striving, to stop performing, to stop trying to make everyone else okay, and instead, to finally ask yourself how you're really doing. After everything you've moved through, the emotional recalibration, the return to your own truth, the deeper connection with love, you now stand in front of the final invitation of this reading: rest. Not just physical rest, but inner stillness. The Four of Swords appears as a sacred pause. A permission slip from the universe to exhale. Libra, your nature is generous and emotionally attuned. You want harmony not just for yourself, but for those around you. You often sense disharmony before anyone else even notices it, and you instinctively move to soften it to make things easier, more balanced, more beautiful. But today's energy asks something different. It asks, what if you didn't try to fix anything? What if you let things be unfinished for a while? What if your own well-being became the center of your focus, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom? In both astrology and life, we forget sometimes that rest is productive. The moon waxes and wanes, the tides ebb and flow, everything in the cosmos honors cycles. So must we. And this moment you're in now isn't a delay. It's a space to regroup, to recalibrate, and to breathe without expectations. The energy of the Four of Swords isn't passive, it's intentional. It asks you to reclaim your time, your space, your thoughts. Consider setting aside one evening just for yourself. No screens. No scrolling. No external noise. Just music, warmth, and your own presence. Even 30 minutes can shift your entire nervous system. When you do this, you're not checking out, you're checking in. This is how you strengthen your inner home, the place where clarity begins, where trust is built, and where you learn to hear your soul's gentle voice again. One practice that can help is to write down 3 things that make you feel safe. Not big ideas, just simple, grounding truths. Maybe it's the sound of rain, the smell of tea, the way your body feels after stretching, the look of morning light across your floor. Safety, after all, is rarely loud. It's often found in small, consistent acts of self-care. Pearl silver, the healing color guiding today's energy, reflects the light of stillness. It's not bold or flashy, it's quiet, refined, and deeply centering. Just like you when you stop trying to be everything for everyone. That color reminds us that grace is often found in softness, and that wisdom rarely needs to shout to be heard. And if you need one more reminder, one more thread of calm to hold on to, let it be this: there is strength in surrender. There is power in pause. And there is something deeply holy in the choice to be fully present with yourself, even when the world keeps spinning. You weren't created to live in constant motion. You were created to experience, to reflect, to grow, and yes, to rest. You don't need to do anything more today to prove your worth. You don't need to earn your rest. You just need to allow it. Let this be the moment you stop chasing and start receiving. Let this be your reset. Because tomorrow's clarity begins with today's quiet. Even as this message draws to a close, your journey is only just beginning. What you've heard today isn't meant to be kept in the quiet of your heart alone, it's meant to be lived, breathed, and slowly woven into the fabric of your daily life. Everything you've felt, the tension between giving and receiving, the longing for peace, the yearning for clarity, is pointing you towards something powerful, a return to the truth of who you really are. Libra, the universe is gently reminding you that your balance doesn't come from perfection. It comes from presence. When you stop trying to please every voice around you and start honoring the voice within, the shift begins, not in an explosive way, but with steady, graceful certainty. That's where real miracles happen. Not when we fight to make life conform to us, but when we trust that life is gently shaping us into who we're meant to be. Take a moment to reflect. What part of today's message are you most ready to act on? Is it the permission to rest, to set boundaries, to love yourself more fully? Or is it the gentle challenge to return to your goals with more purpose, more alignment, and less pressure? You don't need to overhaul everything at once. You only need to take one step in the direction of your own truth. Then another. Then another. And if your heart has been touched today, I want to invite you to turn that insight into intention. Comment below with the phrase, "I choose to live aligned with my soul," if you're ready to embrace your path with more courage, more softness, and more clarity. Your words matter. They're declarations not just to the algorithm, not just to this community, but to yourself. And we'll be right here celebrating that with you. I also want to take a moment to thank you truly for being here. Your time, your presence, your openness to reflect means more than you know. Every like, every comment, every subscription you offer helps us continue to bring messages like this to more beautiful souls around the world. You are part of why Zodiac Whisper Tarot exists. And for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So if you found resonance here today, I warmly invite you to subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Tap the like button to keep this energy flowing, and share this video with someone who might need a moment of gentle clarity. And please, never underestimate how powerful your energy is, not just in this community, but in your own world. What if you gave yourself permission to believe that change really is coming? What if you allowed yourself to trust that your softness is strength, your pause is progress, and your boundaries are blessings? What would life feel like then? Let today be the day you start to find out. Because you, dear Libra, were not meant to live a life of quiet compromise. You were meant to live a life of luminous balance, one that honors your heart as much as your mind, your dreams as much as your duties. You've done enough searching. Now is the time to return to yourself. And when you do, you'll find that everything you've been hoping for has been waiting for you all along. Stay grounded. Stay open. Stay true. And above all, stay with us. Because the next chapter, it's going to be extraordinary.